Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Global. We'll get you top stories from India and the region. I'm Tanvi Taneja, and for news from the rest of the world, I'm joined by my colleague in London, Ollie Barrett. Good afternoon, Ollie.
12:30 p.m. here in London, 1:30 p.m. across Central Europe. Coming up in the next half an hour, all eyes on Israel's next move. Donors pledge for Sudan after a year of conflict, and how the UK elections will work this year. First, Tanvi's got the headlines.
Israel's war cabinet to meet again today to discuss the response to Iran's attack. Iran says any action by Israel against its interests will receive a severe response. Hunt for potential jurors on as Donald Trump's historic hush money trial enters the second day on Tuesday in New York. And the torch for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games lit in ancient Olympia in a traditional ceremony ahead of the Games start on July 26th. So in the latest from Israel, the war cabinet will meet on Tuesday to discuss the response to Iran's attack over the weekend, said an Israeli official. Although no time was set for meeting, it will be the third time that the decision-making cabinet convenes since Iran launched more than 300 missiles and drones against Israel on Saturday night. On Monday, the country's war cabinet had met, wherein Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu summoned his war cabinet for the second time in less than 24 hours over Iran's missile and drone attack. Meanwhile, Israeli military's chief of staff said that Iran's attack would not go unanswered.
I want to thank all our international partners who stood up to Iran's aggression. Iran's attack has created new opportunities for cooperation in the Middle East. We are closely assessing the situation. We remain at our highest level of readiness. Iran will face the consequences for its actions. We will choose our response accordingly.
Meanwhile, Iran said that any action against its interest will be responded to. Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi and Iranian Foreign Minister warned on Tuesday that their nation will respond to any retaliatory strikes, and the smallest action against its interests will be met with a severe and widespread response against any perpetrator.
If the Israeli regime makes a mistake, this time Iran's response, as Iran's military commanders announced, will not be minimal but immediate and severe.
So the calls for restraint after Iran's attack on Israel are getting only louder. My colleague Ollie Barrett is in London. He takes it forward from me here and gives us also more on other stories making headlines around the world. Ollie, global powers urging for restraint to avoid any further escalation in the region?
That's exactly right, Tanvi. They are indeed, as you say, and the European Union's foreign ministers are meeting on Tuesday to focus on de-escalation and the security of the West Asia region after Iran's unprecedented missile and drone attack on Israel. Here in London, Downing Street says British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is due to speak to his Israeli counterpart Benjamin Netanyahu on Tuesday on how to prevent escalation. DD India's Ishan Garg reports from Brussels.
There is certainly a huge degree of discomfort. There's a massive level of anxiety because people here don't want any further escalation in the Middle East, and that's why this foreign ministers meeting has been called on an urgent level just a day before the 27 heads of states of the European Union are going to meet here in Brussels. Now, there is a possibility that the foreign ministers are going to discuss new sanctions on Iran, which gives you a sense of the mood because they clearly see that Iran is the one currently escalating tensions in the Middle East.
Conflict in Gaza must end. Hamas, which is backed by Iran, started this war. They wanted not just to kill and murder, but to destabilize the whole region. This weekend, they rejected the latest hostage deal, which offered a road to a ceasefire. It is Israel's right, and indeed its duty, to defeat the threat from Hamas terrorists and defend its security.
Meanwhile, no such plans or actions have been planned against Israel so far as this particular episode between Israel and Iran is concerned. So there is a degree of uncertainty which is leading to some anxiety in Brussels because countries here want to show that they are in solidarity with Israel, but at the same time they've also in the past expressed concerns for Israel's own actions in Gaza.
The European Union has decided to allocate $3.71 billion towards safeguarding the ocean and advancing sustainability through various initiatives this year. The EU's top environment official announced a list of 40 commitments to protect the oceans on Tuesday. They include combating marine pollution, backing sustainable fisheries, and fostering investments in the blue economy.
It's in danger. It is big, it looks strong, but it's actually fragile and vulnerable. Ocean temperatures hit a record high 2 months ago, with significant implications for biodiversity and marine CO2 storage. The world is on the verge of a fourth global mass coral bleaching event, potentially the worst in the planet's history. On behalf of the EU, I'm very proud to announce 40 new commitments with a total budget of €3.5 billion. This is the biggest amount ever announced by the EU since the start of the Our Ocean Conference.
The United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres says that indiscriminate attacks that are killing and injuring and terrorizing civilians in Sudan could amount to war crimes, he says, and crimes against humanity. Guterres says weekend attacks by RSF-affiliated militias west of El Fasher, the capital of North Darfur, and the escalating hostilities on the outskirts of the city are a cause for fresh alarm.
On El Fasher would be devastating for civilians and could lead to a full-blown intercommunal conflict across Darfur. It would also upend aid operations in an area already on the brink of famine, since El Fasher has always been a critical UN humanitarian hub.
Donors have pledged over $2.13 billion for war-torn Sudan at a conference in Paris. During the event, French President Emmanuel Macron said the amount gathered will help meet the population's most urgent needs. DD India's Ross Cullen sent us this report from Paris.
$2.1 billion are going to be provided to support Sudan's humanitarian assistance relief fund. Emmanuel Macron, the French president, saying that in his closing news conference. He also said that the 15th of April was a tragic date for Sudan.
Our duty was to make it clear that we are not forgetting what is happening in Sudan, that we remain mobilized, that there are no double standards. This is why France, member of the Security Council and ally of Sudan with Germany and the European Union, took the initiative of this conference to show our will, our determination to put an end to this crisis from which people are suffering.
This conference was held 1 year exactly on from the start of the civil conflicts in the African country. Emmanuel Macron went on to say that since then, nothing but grief and suffering has been forced upon the Sudanese people. Now, some of the numbers are quite staggering. If you look at the fact that 25 million people are in need of humanitarian assistance, 17 million people face severe food insecurity, and 4 million people are facing famine in Sudan as a result of the civil war in the country, which then has provoked this huge humanitarian crisis, not just internal displacement, but also refugees fleeing over the border to neighbouring countries like Ethiopia, South Sudan and Shad.
Former US President Donald Trump's hush money trial enters a second day on Tuesday, with lawyers still trying to select the New York City jurors. Over half of the 100 potential jurors questioned on Monday were dismissed after saying that they couldn't impartially judge the accused. Manhattan District Attorney has charged Donald Trump with 34 felony counts of falsifying business records to cover up a hush money payment to an adult star before the 2016 election. Donald Trump has pleaded not guilty and denies any interaction took place. The UK government has announced plans to criminalise the creation of sexually explicit deepfake images. Anyone found guilty of creating fake sexual images of people without their consent will face a criminal record, an unlimited potential fine, and potential jail time as well if the image is widely shared. The new offence will be introduced through an amendment to the Criminal Justice Bill. A deepfake is an image or a video that's been digitally altered with the help of artificial intelligence to replace the face of one person with the face of another. The UK will host its parliamentary election this year, though the date is still not known. All 650 seats in the House of Commons are up for grabs, meaning a new party could take power and a new Prime Minister could take charge. DD India's Stuart Smith has more from London on how the process will unfold.
From northern Scotland to southern England, in cities and villages, the British people are preparing to vote. For 650 prospective lawmakers, there's one goal: to represent their part of the UK in the national parliament. It's here, in the House of Commons, where members of Parliament, or MPs, debate the issues of the day. But for any lawmaker to get here, they need to be voted in. Each adult UK citizen or Commonwealth citizen who has permission to live in the UK can choose to vote.
They give you a ballot paper which could be just 3 names on it: Tory, Conservative, Labour and Liberal Democrat, or it could have about 20 names on it with loads of independent candidates and so on. But in the actual act of voting, all you've got to do is mark one candidate.
People choose who they would like to represent their local area or constituency. The UK is broken up into 650 of them, and one lawmaker represents each location.
In that constituency, you can have someone who only gets, say, 25% of the vote, but as long as they win more votes than the next person, then they will be declared duly elected.
Usually a candidate will run as part of a political party, but they don't have to. In power since 2010 is the more right-leaning Conservative Party, headed by Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. Their strongest rival is the more left-wing Labour Party, headed by Keir Starmer. Other parties exist, but they aren't likely to take power, with the UK traditionally a two-party system. When the election is over, party leaders see how many of their candidates have won, and if one party has more than half the lawmakers in Parliament, they can form a government. If not, they can agree to work with one of the smaller parties to form a coalition.
But right now, polls predict the opposition Labour Party is in for a strong chance of winning far more than half the seats in Parliament, meaning it's likely to be a Labour government, with Keir Starmer, the favourite, to be the next Prime Minister. Stuart Smith in London, reporting for DD India.
So that's how it'll work. We still don't know the date. Most experts predict it'll probably be October or November this year, Tanvi. And as soon as I know, I'll let you know.
All right. Thank you very much, Ollie. Ollie Barrett joining us all from London. And now We are going to move on, but before that, we'll slip into a short break. Still to come on DD India Global. Fire engulfs Copenhagen's old stock exchange, rush to save historic artworks from the flames. And in India, campaigning intensifies for phase 1 of polling on 19th of April.
Tracking the first phase of general elections, Team Poll Pulse has reached India's northeast in Assam. This is the tea city of India, Dibrugarh.
They are
not getting jobs in the local area, like in Dibrugarh or nearby districts and all.
Home to the finest tea, the state is set for a cracker of a contest. This is 2024. Can the Congress and allies offer a fight back, or will the Modi juggernaut be unstoppable? Watch Poll Pulse on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Global. I am Tanvi Taneja. Up next, we get you the latest buzz on the world's largest democratic elections in India. So political parties are still finalizing their candidates for the upcoming elections in India. The Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP, has released a list of 7 Lok Sabha candidates for Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Maharashtra and West Bengal. In its latest list, Abhijit Das has been fielded in West Bengal's Diamond Harbour constituency against TMC's Abhishek Banerjee. Udayan Raje Bhosle in Maharashtra's Satara, Anita Som Prakash from Hoshiarpur, Parampar Kaur Sidhu from Bhatinda, among others, have been named. From Uttar Pradesh, Shashank Mani Tripathi will take up fight in Devariya and Thakur Vishwadeep Singh will contest from Firozabad. The BJP has also announced candidates for Odisha Assembly polls and Telangana and Uttar Pradesh Assembly by polls. So campaigning for the first phase of Lok Sabha elections is in top gear as the leaders of various political parties are campaigning across states to woo the voters. Prime Minister and senior BJP leader Narendra Modi addressed 2 public meetings in Bihar's Gaya and Purnia today. The Prime Minister said that Congress and its allies are trying to use Constitution as a weapon for their political benefit. Addressing a public meeting in Gaya in Bihar this morning, Prime Minister Modi said a false narrative is being created by opposition parties to mislead people that the BJP will change the Constitution. Criticizing RJD's time in power, senior BJP leader said that RJD is the face of jungle raj and corruption. The Indian Prime Minister said that the people of the country have decided that BJP should cross 400 seats because the people of the country want to see India developed by 2047.
चुनाव विकसित भारत विकसित बिहार के उसी संकल्प का चुनाव है। गया की धरती पर उमड़ा ये जन सैलाब, ये अपार जन समर्थन, आपका ये उत्साह साफ बता रहा है कि फिर एक बार 4 जून।
So clearly the leaders are leaving no stone unturned as the poll date for the first phase approaches. India's Home Minister and senior party leader Amit Shah held a public rally in Jammu and Uttarakhand. He will also visit Madhya Pradesh today for public programs. Senior BJP leader and Union Minister Anurag Singh Thakur held a public rally in Kishtwar to seek votes for party candidate Dr. Jitendra Singh, who is contesting on the Udhampur Kathua Doda Lok Sabha seat. Congress MP Rahul Gandhi also held a roadshow in Malappuram, Kerala today. Congress General Secretary Priyanka Gandhi Vadra participated in roadshows in Assam and Tripura, organised in support of the Indie Alliance candidates. The Samajwadi Party candidate from Mainpuri constituency, Dimple Yadav, filed her nomination on Tuesday. So, owing to its geographical location, Madhya Pradesh is fondly called as the heart of India. India's largest tribal groups come from this state, and there is a Jungle Book connection with the state as well. Let us take a look at why Madhya Pradesh matters in India's elections.
चहक उठेगा दिल जो देखें दिल हिंदुस्तान का.
Located in the central India, Madhya Pradesh is also referred to as India's heart. The land that Rudyard Kipling was inspired by for his Jungle Book is home to magnificent mountain ranges, meandering rivers and extensive forests, including 25 sanctuaries, 10 national parks and 6 tiger reserves. It holds almost 20% of India's tiger population and houses 3 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, including the ancient Khajuraho temples and millennia-old Buddhist monuments at Sanchi and Paleolithic cave paintings at Bhimbetka. But similar to its cultural and scenic diversities, the state also has vibrant political character. In the year 2000, Madhya Pradesh was bifurcated into 2 states and Chhattisgarh was carved out of it. With an area of over 300,000 square kilometers, Madhya Pradesh is the second largest state in India and has 29 Lok Sabha or parliamentary seats. The state has a population of over 72.7 million with over 56 million voters. This includes over 28 million males and over 27.38 million female voters. The state also has 1,237 voters from the third gender. As per the 2024 general election schedule of the Election Commission of India, polling in Madhya Pradesh is taking place in 4 phases from April 19. In the 2023 State Assembly elections, the voters of Madhya Pradesh gave its mandate to Bharatiya Janata Party, which is currently governing the state. It won 163, which is 2/3 of the total 230 assembly seats in the state. Campaigns by Prime Minister Narendra Modi played a significant role in the party's performance in the state elections. Though the political issues of the state are complex, the election battles are usually between the BJP and the Indian National Congress, with no significant third player in the fray. Other parties like the Bahujan Samaj Party and Samajwadi Party also participate in the elections. In the general elections of 2019, the Bharatiya Janata Party won 28 seats out of 29 seats and the Congress won only 1 seat. As the summer sets in central India, beginning April, the political heat is also soaring in Madhya Pradesh amid the political battle for the 29 parliamentary seats in the general elections of 2024. Sujata Lochab for DD India.
Now, amid the intense politics ahead of general elections, Meghalaya celebrated Shad Shuk Minim festival, which saw participation of thousands of people in the capital Shillong. Aimed at preserving indigenous traditions and culture, the festival celebrates the coming of spring in the state. Here's a report by DD India's Akshay Dongre.
As the chill of winter recedes and charm of spring descends on the Khasi hills, thousands of young men, women and children in beautiful traditional outfits perform traditional dance in the capital of Meghalaya. Even heavy rainfall fails to deter their spirit. This traditional dance is part of Shad Shuk Minim festival, which is the Khasi way of offering their thanks to God for all the blessings and bountiful harvest. The agrarian festival is a way for the people to assert their identity and preserve their culture and has been going on for hundreds of years in the state.
We have been dancing and performing Shad Shuk Minim for 113 years now. The Khasis people are a matrilineal society. Significance of this dance is like it focuses on the way of life of the Khasis.
For the people of the state, the festival is a proud moment which helps them preserve their culture, traditions and heritage.
It takes place every year because it's like a Thanksgiving for we cultivate crops mostly, so it's like for better prosperity. We feel really proud to represent Meghalaya.
Held during the month of April, the festival celebrates spring, symbolic as a season of rebirth, and signifies the beginning of a new cycle during which new seedlings are planted. The agrarian festival also celebrates optimism for the coming year.
In 1899, the Sangh Khasi was formed by 16 men, all under the age of 30. These 16 young men came up with the Sangh Khasi organization, to protect, preserve and promote the Khasi indigenous, the Khasi beliefs. This dance, for us, it signifies our identity. It signifies who we are as Khasis. As you can see, the sound of the drums, everything, it has its own meaning.
The biggest visual highlight of Shad Shuk Minim is the dance and accompanying music, which showcases the beautiful culture of the state and helps the indigenous beliefs and customs flourish into modern time.
So after the flavors of Meghalaya, let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. Oscar-nominated actress Lily Gladstone made her return to the red carpet alongside award-winning Riley Keough for the Los Angeles premiere of their new television series Under the Bridge this Monday. The star-studded cast also includes British actress Archie Punjabi and a group of young talented actors including Chloe Gaydray. A fire broke out on Tuesday at Copenhagen's old stock exchange. Firefighters were busy containing the fire at the building, which now serves as the headquarters for the Danish Chamber of Commerce. So far, no injuries were reported. The cause of the blaze was unknown when reports last came in. And the torch for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games was lit in ancient Olympia in a traditional ceremony on Tuesday, marking the final stretch of their 7-year preparations for the Games' official start on July 26th. Paris will host the Summer Olympics for a third time after hosting them in 1900 and 1924. So that's all for this edition of DD India Global. Do join us for another edition of the show live from Washington, D.C. at 7:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Meanwhile, you can connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly Twitter and Instagram at DD India Live. You can also find us online at ddindia.co.in. I'm Tanvi Taneja from my entire team in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.